On today's final episode of season 1, I will be speaking to Enitan. Your name just kept reoccurring, girl. So I'm just letting you know you got fans.
Oh, thank you.
Serious fans.
It's a privilege.
Enitan is the UK's first Afro hair coach, and she is probably one of the most incredible people I could have ended this season on.
It was extremely challenging. So after all of that, you know, me and my accountants are like, you're not going to be able to eat for a long time. Just pray that you can even pay the staff, because all the money that's come, unless you know that you're going to do very well, and even with that, it's going to take a very long time. In 8 weeks, we broke even.
Stop, Paige, I'm sorry. We discuss the real struggles and challenges that it takes to be able to open an incredible studio like this.
It was very, very challenging, to the point where they then said, okay, fine. Usually you pay a deposit before you do the lease agreement, which is more money. Then they said you have to pay 2 years upfront for every month. It was very, 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 very difficult.
Girl. We go through some of the biggest question marks, statements, and answers that I've received over the course of season 1 from other guests. Oils and butters. Let's talk about, I'm not even gonna say anything else. I'm gonna just say oils and butters, you go, girl. You say what you wanna say.
Okay, so it depends on what the goal is you want to achieve.
Is castor oil a scam?
Maybe that wasn't the best question to ask, because I'll tell you why.
The concept of our hair being designed to break. Mm-hmm. Let me just put my phone down. Talk to me about that concept. We try and kind of work out where we're going, you know, on this hair care journey, and as a community, the things that we want to see change. Where are we at, and where does Enitan see us being in the next few years?
And I realized, oh my goodness, it's worse than I think, or that I thought. Mm. I used to think, oh my God, there is impact, is making a change. The amount of people that do not know are greater than the people giving out the scientific facts.
Yeah.
If there aren't enough people giving out the scientific facts, it's just a dot. I'm just a dot.
Yeah. This is an incredible episode, and I am so glad that I'm able to share it with you. Don't forget, like and subscribe. We have even more amazing content coming up for you for season 2, so I need to make sure that you're in the community ready to actually see all of it. So, guys, take as much as you can from today's episode. I hope you enjoy. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning.
The anticipation for me to speak to you has not just been from me. I've been hassled on my own socials. Ask her this, check this, please. These are the questions I would like you to ask. It's been insane. And to be honest, from the beginning of my journey, I remember there were about 3 or 4 people that would keep mentioning Enitan. I was like, who is this? Who is this woman? I'd never heard of you before. And then when I started stalking your socials, I was like, oh my God, okay. Because there's a lot of things that we hear and we get told online. It's just absolute garbage. Mm. So it gets to a point, especially when you're someone like me who's tried everything, where you're tired of it. And you just want somebody to tell you the facts of the situation when it comes to your hair. And it seemed that your name just kept reoccurring, girl. So I'm just letting you know you got fans.
Oh, thank you.
Serious fans.
It's a privilege.
But you've earned it. Do you know what I mean? You haven't popped up on YouTube last week.
Thank you.
So what I want to do today, I of course have asked a number of questions over the last season. There have been some very interesting answers, some that have sparked, I'm gonna say just debate. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Some serious debate online. And I thought, okay, it'd be really cool if we could fact check. Mm-hmm. But before we fact check, because you know how sometimes people can be a little bit bad mind, let's tell people why you are the person that has the credentials to be able to fact check. I think that's a fair question to ask, right? Because people will be like, oh, what makes Enitan possible to fact check these things? But I think, honestly, you have been doing this a really long time, and I'd like people to know your background. So How have you gotten to be, if I'm not mistaken, is it the UK's first Afro hair coach, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
yes.
that's a big deal. So talk to me about the journey to get to that point.
Okay, so to go back to what you said earlier on, I think it's because I didn't start off where there was someone to go to ask questions. So when I started, I was forced and I was in a position where there was no such thing as a hair coach.
Yeah.
There was no one to, YouTube or even Instagram wasn't really a thing. I actually started on Facebook.
Okay.
So I started because I saw somebody. And not just somebody, and when I think back to now and I reconcile the two, it makes sense, although then I didn't know why.
Yeah.
She had to be black, and not only that, she had to be Nigerian, and not just that, she had to be Yoruba.
Damn.
So now I understand that what I was looking for was something relatable. I didn't know that's what it was then.
But you get it now.
I get it now.
Yeah.
And then I thought, how is this possible? But what should have started my journey, because I have scalp concerns, but that wasn't enough for me to start researching. I had to see somebody that was like me.
Yeah.
And then I didn't go down the YouTube route. I just started on journals and articles, and I found scientists. I'll find the same scientist and I'll follow his entire work, everything he's ever written. And I became obsessed, literally obsessed with that.
I love that.
And then I started implementing it on myself and on my daughter. And then people kept saying to me, when I say people, really it was one person, my sister kept saying to me, you need to do this as a business because you will talk to randoms for 2 hours. So you need to start practice getting paid for this.
Yes.
And I dismissed it because I thought, why would someone in the same, well, it wasn't that. I just thought in the same way I sat down and I studied and I did research, why can't someone do that? Why would you pay?
I see. Why? Yeah, because I did it, so you can do it. That's the mindset.
That's the way I looked at it. And then I looked at it as when you go to someone to do your hair's done up, dressed up. Yeah. And I wasn't going to do that. Yeah. So I looked at it as because my only, I suppose, template was hairdressers or hairstylists, and I wasn't going to style or dress your hair up. So why would you come just for education and leaving the same? This is the stories I told myself. Yeah. And then I thought, okay, it was my birthday one day, I put a post out. It was the first and last time I ever had my number publicly on socials.
You put your number up there?
Well, this is like more than a decade ago, so I didn't know.
Fair enough.
And also, I didn't know people were silently observing. So then maybe I had like 200 followers. I didn't know people were watching me. I didn't know that. Okay. So I said, hi guys, I was a tax accountant at that time. So I was going underground, I was going to work. I'm going to start the Healthy Hair Studio. Yeah. Anyone who's interested, here's my number.
What happened?
I went underground, I came out. And I was confused because I've never had a rush. I didn't know what was happening, where was this coming from. My phones were, it was just crazy.
It was too much.
It was too much. So I went on the post, I edited and removed my number, and my number has never been up again.
You learned your lesson from that day.
And that's kind of how it started. And I didn't know what to call myself because it wasn't hairdressing.
No, it
wasn't hairstyling. It was my unique selling point was education. Yeah. But what do you call that? I didn't have a name. Yeah. So it was one day, a few months had gone by, and someone had results and she kind of put in her caption, yada, yada, yada. So at this time, Instagram was now a thing. Thanks, hair coach. And I thought, that's the name. That's it. And that's how it began.
You know what? I understand the self-talk. Everybody has it, where it's like, is this really? Like, is anyone going to pay me? But the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of things that are out there that people can find themselves, but are they? And do they have the time? And if they were to see a 10,000 page journal, are they going to read that at a time?
And it's a very difficult thing to read, to be fair. And it's also a very boring thing to read, so that's the truth.
I was like, I'm not reading it, okay? I'm gonna come to you, I'm gonna pay you, because you've already read it. So I get it, but I'm so glad you did not listen to that voice.
And that's how it started, and I just started reading more, and I thought, if this is going to be something I'm doing, I need to know it really well. Yes. It can't just come from a place of my experience with my hair, my experience with my daughter. I need to understand what I'm doing well. So I signed up for 5, 6 different qualifications before I then took on trichology and then did that. So that's kind of, so I guess my experience is the exposure to the black woman's perspective of her hair and the scientific point of it.
What has been the hardest moment in your journey? The hardest?
I don't even know if I can still speak on it because till today, and I'm even getting emotional just talking about it.
I can see, it's okay.
I still get reminder pop-ups on it. And there's a huge, it's the largest retailer in the UK, and we've been talking for years. But they will not put my products in their store because I'm not under Unilever or P&G. So they've said many times, we like you, we can see people will buy.
But they won't? Huh?
Who is behind you? Who is the big name behind you?
That's what they want to know.
So we've been talking, we're in communications, they know I exist, we've had several meetings, and usually when you have this kind of meetings, the last point of it is vendor listing and
Yes.
so we get to that point, and then they get scared and like, we're going to put you next to all these international names. What will happen if no one picks up your product?
That's what they're scared of.
They're scared no one's going to buy. So
And what about the results?
that's the most. To them it's not enough because who is the big name? Who's the big pharmaceutical company behind Healthy Hair Studio? It's not enough to say that people are looking for products that are well formulated and people will buy. It's not enough to showcase what happened in John Lewis. So in John Lewis, in the history of them doing those sorts of pop-ups, no one had made that much revenue. To my right was Tom Lever, we sold more, Tom Ford, we sold more than Tom Ford. Right opposite me was Tilbury, what they called?
Charlotte Tilbury.
We sold more than them,
sold
so
more?
23% more. On the other side of me was Chanel. So they're like, yeah, we can see the numbers as creditable,
but they just won't.
Yeah. So that's been the most challenging part. So to the point where I've kind of like, the reminders keep popping up and I'm just like.
Yeah, swiping them away. That's painful.
It's very painful.
Because I've seen there's results that people give with UGC, and then there's like people almost in tears about the results they've had with your products that's different. And I've seen people really emotional talking about these products. So I'm just thinking, what are we waiting for?
It's just a money thing for them. It's a money thing for them because when your products are on their shelves, even the light that shines on your products, you have to pay for it.
Right.
So they're looking at it as, if you cannot give us, and I proved several times, in fact, the retailer intentionally, just to prove a point, I said, okay, fine, I know you're going to be in this place on this date.
Yeah.
The money's too much for me to pay to set up, but I'm going to pay just to prove a point.
Yeah.
I set up literally right next to them. So they came on board with all their consigners.
Okay.
And I did 12%. My single one brand did more than, I think they had eight international brands, all 8 together.
Right, so what more can you do? What more can you do?
And they were still like, no one knows who you are. So I was like, okay.
Okay, that's upset me. So personally, let me let you know that, not that you need my help, I'm nobody, but if I can do anything to get this episode everywhere, sis.
Yes.
I promise you, because the funny thing is, there's almost, for me, like a backwards thing happening with retail right now, where the products that are on the shelves, I'm also a little bit like, oh, I'm worried.
It's not even just that, it's mostly because they're Americans.
Yeah.
You rarely, some retailers have done much better in the last 3 years since George Floyd. But when you hear brands and when you hear YouTubers, they're mostly American brands.
Yes.
And we have amazing, fantastic UK brands.
Right.
That have proven.
Yes.
Not once, it's not a fluke.
No, this isn't a trend, like, agreed. But my issue is a lot of the brands that I really have been using and love that are British, I'm not seeing in Superdrug and Boots. I don't see them in there. So that's my point, is that I'm actually starting to shy away. I have to go online to the retailer, the manufacturer's website.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think the retailers need to start understanding. There's a shift happening. If you don't pick up these products, there's going to be a drop. And who's spending the most on cosmetics?
Yeah.
And hair care?
It's the black woman.
Right, so we need to be careful with that.
The other thing we have to consider about that statement where black women buy more is what exactly are they buying? So they're buying more in the hair industry, but are they buying healthy hair products for their hair, or are they buying?
What do you think?
So that's what I mean. So when we say that statement, we have to be able to drill down into what exactly are they buying.
Right, and why are they buying in such large quantities? Because there's many times where I have this argument, and this is only recently I've come to this conclusion from speaking to different people in the industry, but the things that I am using, I usually use in bulk. I use too much because I don't have the knowledge to know how to apply and when I should be applying. So in terms of the method, usually wrong. So I'm overusing product. The products I'm also using are usually quite toxic and tend to not be helping the problem I'm having. So then they're exacerbating it.
Yeah.
So then I'm going back and buying more, say for dandruff, and the dandruff's not going, it's actually getting worse, but I'm not realizing. So if that is constantly happening, meanwhile, over on here, the healthy hair side, you guys are trying to get into the shops to help us, and that's being blocked, something has to change, otherwise it's just gonna keep happening.
Yeah. Sadly, I don't think anything's gonna change anytime soon. I think unless there's a massive drive of a voice or voices larger, and that can only be done through social media, I think that's maybe when they'll start to listen.
Until then,
I think it would still always, I mean, their business. I get the money thing.
I get the money thing,
it makes
but there's
sense.
profit here.
It's them understanding that there is literally a demand, a need, for accessibility. Because when people can see it, they will buy it, but they need to be able to see it.
I went to Boots. I saw Pattern Beauty's range. I'd never thought to buy them before. And I bought something because it was there. That's as simple as it. I walked past, I saw they had a scalp serum, I had a bit of money on me, I bought it.
And Pattern is already, it was a strong brand before it became a hair care. And I can tell you that we sold more than they did. In another test I tried to prove.
Just all these tests. And the results are just being, what, ignored?
We see you, we hear you.
But it's not enough, we need you to be backed.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see what I can do on that, because that's infuriating me. Flipping over to the customers that you serve, right? In this beautiful studio. How long has this studio been open?
Officially in July.
Unofficially.
Unofficially May.
Yeah?
So we're still very early and new in this location. However, the business has been thriving since 2013, 2014.
Okay.
In a different location.
The purpose of this studio, what are the services offered here?
Okay, so it's one roof that provides both hair care, scalp concerns, and trichology services. So when I say trichology services, I mean hair loss.
Yeah.
I mean seborrheic dermatitis, psoriasis, so those are really chronic medical scalp issues. And when I say hair care, I mean those who are interested in volume, in length, in my hair breaks too much. How far, what is the true potential? What is the education before that, behind that? So it's one roof that kind of supports and provides the science behind all of that.
What's the biggest challenge? Is there an overarching challenge that keeps coming up?
Because it's still early, I don't know what is to come, but I do know what has happened. So I know, for example, to get this premises, you have to prove yourself.
And there's a lot of proving on your part, damn. What now?
So, because I know I'm looking for security and stability,
right?
I asked for a 26-year list, and it's really unheard of to say, if you speak to anybody that has a business premises, it's not something that's done. So the question was, will people still come to you in 10 years? So
where's the belief? I'm just getting sick and tired of this.
So this is where you know that cash is not king always. So it's then showing, okay, this is the cash, this is the bank statement. Okay, fine, no problem. Okay. Give us a guarantee, which is not unusual. So I give them one, they approve, give us another one. Now it becomes to get unusual. I give them another one, then they approve. Give us another one.
Three guarantors? Three.
And then my solicitor is like, what is going on? In all my time of doing this, I've never had one fine. Okay.
3?
I've never heard of 2. So in total, I had to provide 4 to say that this is a credible business. Their concern was, 1, you're saying you're catering to black people in a location like this. So what happens if a black person doesn't walk by
oh my God.
to say, oh, hi guys, what do you guys do? You're new here. And then to narrow it down, you've narrowed yourself down even further by saying you're providing trichology. First of all, what is a trichology service? So there's then explaining all of this as a need for it. So after all the obstacles, it was very, very challenging, to the point where they then said, okay, fine. Usually you pay a deposit before you do the lease agreement, which is more money. Then they said you have to pay 2 years upfront for every month. It was very, 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 very difficult.
Girl.
Long story short, I've got the paperwork. Everything's fine now.
Good for you.
It was extremely challenging. So after all of that, me and my accountants are like, you're not going to be able to eat for a long time. Just pray that you can even pay the staff, because all the money that's come, unless you know that you're going to do very well, and even with that, it's going to take a very long time. In 8 weeks, we broke even.
Stop, Paige. I'm sorry.
So in 8 weeks, we exceeded what we thought we would make in 2 years, we made in 8 weeks. And it proves the point again that if they can see it, they will come. But they need to be able to see it. It needs to be accessible.
Yeah.
And I remember when I looked at the figures and I thought, we checked again and again and again, because it was so unbelievable. And in that 8 weeks, we had not even launched. Because remember I said officially we launched in July.
July, yeah.
But unofficially we were doing hair already. We were caring for people. So that 8 weeks was still in that point.
When you were unofficial.
When we hadn't really launched.
And that's how you broke even?
And that's when we broke even. So I'm then proving that even with the limited service we were providing.
Even before the launch, unlimited resource.
So I'm like,
what's
what
the problem?
Else do you guys need to see?
What do you need? Making you jump through hoops, Enitan.
So when I say I don't know what else is to come, I don't know what else to come, but so far,
well done.
We're here.
Well done.
So yeah.
No, can we just bask in this moment, please? Because the reason I get emotional is because people assume, they see this, they assume loaded, she got a load of money, living that good life, with the gold trimmings. I even felt the same, I was like, oh! But then I think our community has a real issue sometimes with supporting each other within the community, especially crabs in a barrel, if we feel like, well, they're already doing well, they don't need my money. Not thinking about the service that you'd be offering, mind, about the help you'd be giving them. It's just this deep-rooted, very difficult battle we face as Black people.
I don't know if I've experienced it in that way, face on, maybe to my back.
Yeah.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
Because people walk through the doors.
Yes.
And it's intentional where, as you can see, there's only 4 stations.
Yes.
That was also intentional.
Yeah.
Where I didn't want, when I purchased the lease, there was 6 here, there was 5 here. So really I could have had 10.
You reduced it down.
I intentionally reduced it because I didn't want the traditional salon feel.
Yeah.
I intentionally reduced it because I wanted it far apart so that the type of women that come, when you come here, we're kind of like your last bus stop. You've kind of exhausted all measures.
I feel you on that. I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah.
Before you come here.
I know. You've tried everything.
Yes. Before you come to us, because first of all, what's a hair coach?
Yeah.
What's a trichologist? Yeah. So before, now there are more hair coaches, so people are now more aware. But before you come to us, and I always say to the team when we're doing the training, the kind of women that come here have come here for a reason.
Yeah. With intent.
Because why did they not just go down the road? Why, literally, people travel. There was a day that we had a lady from China here, a lady from Portsmouth here, and a lady from Dubai. So why have they traveled all the way?
Wow.
So you need to be intentional.
Yeah.
Every minute.
Yeah.
So everything, even the type of music we play, everything is intentional, and we do training every single day. There is not a morning that goes by. If you go to our stock, we have a board there. Okay, this is the person's concern. What does that mean to you? How do you case study that? What do you troubleshoot that? We do that every morning. Because I can't, the idea of this, and I was saying to them, is I need you to be better than me, not as good as to be better than me.
It's very hard to find that mentality. And I was talking to Jamelia Donaldson, CEO of Treasure Tress, the other day, and I was saying to her that the thing that I want with my podcast, with the people I interview, and for us as a community, is to have a certain standard. I don't want us to just get black things. I want us to have the same quality, top tier quality, is other people from other races, from different backgrounds. I want us to be just as elite. And this is how I feel this is giving that energy. It's not just a black thing.
Yeah.
This is literally here. Everything from, listen, guys, if you go on my Instagram, you'll see even the toilet is elite. And it's because you care. And I'm glad that we can communicate that, because I want people to come in here as they have been. And I want them to feel welcome. But my point earlier was to those who I know exist. I know my people. This isn't shade, just fact. I know there will be people that won't know the things you've just said. For guarantors, it's hard work. And when it comes to us saying buy black owned, support black owned, it's not just so that you can put money in each other's pockets. That's part of it. But it's because no one's gonna care like you care.
No. No one should even want it or care more than you, because it's part of that drives and pushes and it puts emphasis on the zeal. Because anyone can own a business, whether you're doing it at home or wherever. Anyone, it's the tomorrow I have to know more and do better than I did the day before for the community I serve. I think that's the way I look at it. That, and even if someone comes in, and it has happened, where maybe they're not happy, and the staff will come out and say, before she leaves, you have to change her mind of how she feels about Healthy Hair Studio. That's your job. And then when they leave, it's literally a changed story. But it's a constant, and then they've said that the pressure is immense. And I said, yeah, the pressure has to be. I mean, it's not fair, but the pressure has to be.
It's not fair, but the impact that you're making off the back of that pressure, my good sis, trust me, big things coming. But I respect you so much, because as I said, I had no idea. But it's not for people to know. No. I feel like me and you are very much the same, where I do it more so because I'm trying to connect with people, but there's a lot of times where I'll be sat down and I'll be in floods of tears, I'm exhausted, I have nothing more to give. But I'm sat crying into the laptop because I need to edit the podcast for the next day. And then I'm in the morning, like up at 5 a.m. doing these videos, and everyone's like, oh, you're so joyful. And I was literally like half asleep in my bed, didn't want to do it. For those moments that the people then don't see, I say I salute you and I respect you, because I know it's not easy. But we get up every day because there's a bigger picture that we're trying to feed into, right? Yeah,
100%. I posted the other day that someone asked, describe this new journey in one word, and I said sacrifice.
Yes, amen to that. Yes, I feel that into my core spirit. I feel that, and I mean, it's going well. Okay, before I have a breakdown, let me slide on into the questions. I'm gonna just take the questions down. I had like 10. Let me just do like 4. Okay, so. Let me choose the ones that are really going to rile some people up. Is castor oil a scam?
Maybe that wasn't the best question to ask, because I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I haven't read on the scientific characteristics of castor oil in years, maybe 6 years. But however, just using logic.
Yeah.
The temperature and the time will determine the quality of the castor oil because it's supposed to be roasted, not burnt.
Right.
So the time frame and the pressure of that will determine the quality of the end result.
I see.
Castor oil in itself, in its true form, I don't think it's a scam, but I think it's more hyped up than what it needs to be.
Right.
If your strands, for example, are really fine, castor oil will not be the best for you because it's a very pasty texture. So meaning your strands are more likely to Velcro together when you use something that's pasty on a strand type that's very fine. The other thing that castor oil has a reputation for is growth. When people use it on their edges, for example. The reality is when you stimulate, just the act of stimulating will do that. It's not necessarily the castor oil itself, it's the act of stimulating.
Okay.
When you then stimulate with something that has medicinal properties which castor oil doesn't have, so an example of something that has medicinal properties would be, for example, the deep follicle trimming, then you enhance something that would see some sort of result through stimulating with something medicinal to enhance your result.
Does peppermint oil have medicinal qualities?
Peppermint oil does have medicinal properties, but you can't use peppermint by itself.
Right.
You do have to dilute it because it's a very powerful.
Is it an essential oil?
It's an essential oil.
Right.
So you have to infuse it or dilute it into something else.
Otherwise, you can just mash up your scalp.
You're going to burn yourself.
Okay.
And loads of people use the essential oils by themselves. So the question of, is castor oil a scam? I don't think it's a scam, but I think the way people use it and how it's been used or being portrayed is false.
Good enough for me. Next. I spoke to Rahma from 4C Hijabi. We did our episode on cultural biases. In that episode, she quoted you and drummed up a load of debate over the concept of our hair being designed to break. Let me just put my phone down. Talk to me about that concept.
Hair's a fiber. And not only is it a fiber, it's a fiber that doesn't have the ability to regenerate, to revive, to advance. Okay. If you think of any fiber, like any fiber, clothing is probably the easiest one anyone can relate to. Every day, the fiber is of less quality than it was the previous day. Yeah. Every time you wash it, that degrading happens even faster. So the clothes we're wearing will be clean today, but if I've washed it 100 times, it's not going to be the same quality as day one. That's what hair is. Then if we take into consideration that the shape, the tighter the diameter of the shape of a coil, so I mean the circles, the smaller it is, it means it has more salt bonds, hydrogen bonds, disulfur bonds. The stronger those bonds and the number of those bonds build up the integrity of that fiber. But because the integrity is rich, for each turn or each bend, your cuticle, which is one of the things that protects the integrity, has to crack for it to form a curve, a bend, a turn. For it to crack, it means there's an exit point for moisture.
One sec. So the corner of the
I'm just looking at that wire there to sort of bring in front of it and use that as a...
No, that's okay. So just because I'm in a hole right now. The corner of the curl of my hair, that in order to be a corner has to break.
A curve, because remember, you think of a corner as maybe something sharper.
Sure. So the curve, there is an exit there.
There's an exit there.
Right.
For there to be an exit there, it means there has to be a crack of your cuticle. If there's a crack of your cuticle, it means there's an exit point for moisture. Right. It also means it's a breakage point.
Okay.
If one strand, when you wash your hair, you lose a strand, you hold it up.
Yeah.
Has whatever, 50 curves or bends. It means that one strand has 50 opportunities to break.
I see. Okay.
And because that's how the hair comes out of the scalp, it is by default designed to break.
Okay.
And just because it's designed not to hold moisture because of the turns and the shape, and just because it's designed not to enhance, rather it's designed to degrade each day, this is where your technique is important, the type of products you use is important, your routine is important, and what you eat or how you care for yourself internally is important. Because you give a better chance if from day one it comes out of better grade, of better quality, than trying to do all these points on hair that comes out of poor quality. If you can get it right from day one, the other days are less frustrating for you.
Every day. So this is just for curly hair, correct? So straight hair is not designed to break.
Straight hair is also designed to degrade, but it will not break in the same way as coily hair, because hair is still a fiber that degrades.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's still.
Which is why I gave the explanation first.
Yeah, that makes sense. So degrading, that's all of us. But in terms of breaking, we need to be more on top of our routine and our moisture retention, because we have the curves that have exits for moisture at every bend.
Yes.
Look at me, okay. Okay, thank you very much for that. Next, this is fascinating. Oils and butters. Let's talk about, I'm not even gonna say anything else. I'm gonna just say oils and butters, you go girl. You say what you wanna say.
Okay, so it depends on what the goal is you want to achieve.
Okay.
If your focus is more styling related, and that style is a wash and go, it is true that if you do not use an oil on a butter for your wash and go, your style will pop more. It will look better.
Okay.
If your goal is length retention, you 100% have to incorporate an oil and a butter in your routine.
Okay.
Now, for those who are hell-bent on no oils and butter for styling reasons, they will see for themselves that the sort of length retention that they should achieve in 3 years, they will never be able to achieve that in a 3-year time frame.
Mad.
It just will not be possible.
Okay.
Because one, the part of the hair you're supposed to preserve, you're exposing it every day because you're more style focused, because you're rocking a wash and go.
Okay.
So the part of the hair you're supposed to preserve to see length retention is the most aged part of the hair. The most aged part of the hair is the part of the hair that is the furthest away from the scalp.
Right, that makes sense.
But if that part is exposed every day to the wind, to the sun, to the hands, to the styling, to the reshaping, to the remolding, to the manipulation, in a 3-year time frame, versus somebody else who isn't exposing their ends 100% of the time, they will have more length retention in a 3-year time frame than the person who's rocking a wash and go. Especially true for those who have tighter curls. If you look on stylist pages,
yes,
they say to you, no oils and butter, no oils and butter.
Yeah.
I want you to find somebody that has gone from chin length to bra strap length, or chin length to waist length in a 3-year time frame and have tight curls. Don't tag anyone who has loose curls.
Okay.
Tight curls in a 3-year time frame.
And see.
And it can't just be a fluke, repetition.
Yeah, consistency.
Evidence is not something I can prove once, but I can show it again and again and again.
Yeah.
Versus when you come on my page and you can see length retention again and again and again and again. Because we're not focused on wash and goes, because people that come here have a different desire and a different need.
Yeah.
So if you can show repetition on the same page again and again and again and again and again and again, that this person has gone from chin length to bra strap again and again and again, no problem. But you won't find that.
how does porosity and does porosity come into play? Because I thought, based on conversations I've had, episodes I've done, that it could be a case of if you have lower porosity, you would avoid oils and butters unless you were to use heat to open up the hair follicle.
Who has low porosity?
I don't know. Who are you asking? You asking me? Are you crazy? I don't know.
The only group of people
Yes.
that have a uniformed low porosity are babies. Those that have just big chopped, maybe 6 months, 8 months old hair, provided they've not done bleaching or coloring.
Okay.
That's it. High porosity, there are more availability to that because they'll be taken into consideration those who are chemically processed.
Sure.
But if you do not fall under that category, it is scientifically impossible
For you to have low porosity hair.
to have low porosity strands from the root to the tip of your strand, and the hair's been on your head for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years.
Let me just get this straight. So unless you are a baby or you have not done any chemical treatments,
And you just big chopped, for example,
and you've done a big chop, so it's all just
but you haven't bleached, you haven't done coloring, you haven't done excessive heat, then you're likely to have low porosity.
cool.
Go back to my initial definition or how I described a fiber as something that degrades every
Yeah.
day. It has no choice but to lose quality every day.
Yeah.
For a hair strand to lose quality every day, it means additional cracks and holes in the cuticle. Additional cracks and holes in the cuticle every day cannot give you low porosity. Low porosity means what I said earlier, your salt bonds, hydrogen bonds, disulfur, everything is intact, not just intact, the number of those bonds and the strength of those bonds. You cannot have that for 3, 4, 5-year-old hair. It is not possible.
It's just not possible because of the natural degrading.
You wash your hair, even if you don't color, you wash your hair. Even if you don't wash your hair, you twist your hair.
So the whole low porosity thing is just...
It's a lack of understanding. It started because somebody put a strand in water and said, if something floats, it means this, if it sinks, it means this. And people just followed without really understanding what truly does that mean. It's a good way to, I suppose, explain in layman's terms what that means, but it's not a good way to define my hair is low porosity because of this, or my hair is high porosity because it's sunk in the bowl. But it's a good way to explain.
Right.
For example, why I said you have additional holes and cracks. If you have additional holes and cracks, it means more will go in, more will exit.
Right.
But you can't say because it went to the bottom, I have high porosity. The temperature of the water, the volume of the strand, the cleanliness of the strand. Taking all of that even out of the consideration, the only way to truly test porosity is in a lab. You cannot do that at home.
It sounds as if, realistically, porosity isn't the end all and be all. Because I know a lot of people think I have low porosity hair because of this probably incorrect test. So as a result of this test, I don't use oils and butters. I know that there's a lot of people out there that are very calculated because I felt like, based on my hair likely being very high porosity because of the chemicals and the colouring, and it gets dry very quickly. So I then thought, okay, so I'm more than likely going to need something to seal hydration because my hair loses moisture very quickly. I think that makes sense more than maybe low porosity hair. Now I use heat all the time and don't use oils and butters. I feel like the high porosity argument makes more sense.
But then the people that are saying low porosity, who has, that's what I'm saying. That's why I asked that question.
I don't know. I don't even, because I don't see myself in that group, I don't know much about them. I feel like maybe they just get a lot of product buildup. So maybe that's why they feel that way.
It's not just that. It's a lack of understanding of they've solely put their full effort on the one of the four products.
Yeah.
Where's their technique? Where's their routine?
Yeah.
Where's the internal factors? So many people will come here and say, my hair never, ever, ever retains moisture. Within the same day, it is dry, and they believe that fully and wholeheartedly, my hair is low porosity. And once we implement the changes and give them the education, and we say, come back in 5 weeks, your story will be different. Every time, there's never been a time, I can say this with full complete confidence, There's never been a time where all the steps have been followed
And they haven't come back.
and the same hair that they once described as never ever being able to retain moisture for more than whatever 6 hours is the same hair that can now retain moisture for 3-4 days. But it's the same hair that they said is low porosity and nothing can happen.
I need to book an appointment, really, don't I? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, let me think. This is just, it's like a kid in a candy shop. Okay. How relevant is the notion of no silicones, no parabens, and no sulfates?
In the UK, you cannot sell products to the public and put those sorts of labels. No silicone, no free from. You cannot do that.
You're not allowed.
You're not allowed to do that. If you check on the Gov cosmetics guidance, it says you're not allowed to do that. No, we see it every day.
I was like, but wait.
No, we see it every day. You're not allowed to do that. But we see. Now, this then also showcases the importance of who are you buying from.
Yeah.
Is everything made in their kitchen, or is everything tested and going through the proper steps? So like all Healthy Hair Studios products have to go through various stages. There's a reason why I haven't launched up shampoo yet. My shampoo was supposed to be the first product that was supposed to launch.
Okay.
And because of the frustration of a failed testing, because I had the right thing in place, otherwise I would have launched it by now.
Okay.
That out of the frustration of that, I then launched the Nude for Bed scarves, which then did really well, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
But till today, I don't have a shampoo because I'm trying to formulate a shampoo to do something that's very unusual. And it kept failing the test. So there's a series of tests we do for stability. There's a series of tests we do for toxicity. There's a series of tests we do for, you know, the health of the consumer. And when you pass that test, you get a certificate by the government. And it goes onto a database. That's the proper protocol. So when we say free from something that should protect the product from bacteria, for example, and it's happened a few times. There are a few people have come to me. I bought this product because it said free from. As it's going through the post, the mailing system, by the time it's delivered to you, it's already started to grow bacteria. By the time you can see that with the naked eye, it's already extremely problematic because the bacteria has started to form before you can see it with your naked eye. And then you apply this on your hair, on your scalp, or wherever, and then you're itchy, you're inhaling it, you're gonna have health issues. But yet we're running from the big companies. But the small brands are exposing people to the same risk because of poorly formulated products. So to answer your question, we have to consider how the ingredient is being used, the quantity of the ingredient, how much of it is in it, and the frequency. Let's use water.
Okay.
Most leave-ins, all leave-ins in theory, should start with water.
Okay.
How it's being used. If I dunk my hair in water every single day, because somebody has said water is a moisturizer, look for the first ingredient, it says water, that's where moisture comes from, which is not true. That's not why water is an ingredient, that's just different stories.
Okay.
How it's being used, I put water on my hair every day, and I literally just drench it with water.
Yeah.
I spray it with water. Frequency, I do it 2 times a day because my hair's already dry by the evening. What's the third thing? Frequency, how much of it I'm using.
Volume.
It's a lot of water, I literally dump. It is still water, which is a healthy ingredient, a good ingredient.
Yeah.
But that will cause you issues because of those 3 factors.
Right.
Because your hair is wet all the time. Trying to get moisture, you're constantly spraying water. But water does not have the ability to give you moisture. But you think you're giving your hair moisture by spraying it every day with water.
Yeah.
So your hair will continue to be dry, but yet it's water.
Using it incorrectly.
How it's being used.
How it's being used.
The amount of it
Yeah.
and the frequency.
So it's all relative?
Everything is taken into consideration, especially when we're talking about things like, there are some, the EU have banned a few parabens, there's 1 or 2 or 3 of them,
Yeah.
but the idea of that is there has to be something in your product that protects the product from growing mold.
And is that what parabens do?
That's essentially one of the many reasons why they're in there. If we take silicones into consideration, if you have extremely dry hair,
yes,
and you want it to thrive, I 100% recommend silicones. You will not find silicones in any of my products because I don't get the opportunity to sit down, or I can't, nor do I want to sit down with everyone that buys the product. And the reason I say nor do I want to, because it restricts the rich. Because I'm saying you can only buy the product once you speak, whereas I want people to just go to wherever and pick it up and buy it.
Right.
So that's the reason I don't have silicones in my product.
Okay.
Because somebody will, you mentioned other brands earlier, and someone will pick it up, turn it around, they'll see a silicone, they'll put it back down, they'll pick up the, oh no, silicone, let me buy it.
Right.
That's really the only reason. But
silicones are good if you have really dry hair.
Silicones are fantastic. It would give you protection. It would, the hair grates. So think of when you grate cheese. The hair grates a lot and shafts a lot. And that degrading of the fiber happens at a faster rate. But imagine if I could have something to even out the surface, to make my surface uniform, to reduce the grating, to reduce the shafting. Why in the world will I not use that?
So basically, an ingredient that actually could help a lot of us is not being used in a lot of products, inclusive of your own, even though it actually would benefit us because consumers have been told that it's bad for us.
Because of the consumer perception.
Where did it even come from? Who said it was bad? Where do they live? I'm asking for a friend.
It's mostly the whole green beauty claim and all of that.
Because that's so damaging. I don't know where it came from. I just know it just one day popped up and it was like no sulfates, no silicones, and I was like, okay.
The other thing we hear about silicones is that it leaves a material, it leaves additional coating.
Yeah, like a film.
Everything leaves when you put an oil on your hair, it's an additional material. It's leaving an additional material and an additional surface on your hair.
You're right.
Everything that touches any additional material that touches the hair fiber leaves an additional material. What does an oil do? What does a leave-in conditioner do? Leaves an additional material.
Enitan, please. I just need a minute. So what do we do? What do we do? How can we?
You can go through your entire journey and not use silicones. Like I said, I don't have any silicones in my product because how many people am I going to be fight about this?
Yes.
Like, really and truly.
So I can't unring that bell now in my head where I'm thinking, because my hair gets dry, obviously it's been chemically treated, so it's even more dry. So in my head I'm thinking, is that the special secret sauce I'm missing?
Technique, protein, routine, internal factors.
If
your routine tells you to wash frequently, what is the issue of cleansing off the additional material? Okay. Right, let's do one more question because I don't think I can handle any more. Oh God, there's two that people have sent me. Oh, the battle begins. Which do I choose? Okay, I'm going to choose this one because it's coming up to winter and I want to help my people. How can we wear protective styles like braids and cornrows safely without damaging our natural hair and edges? And this includes a question about, are there any things we need to do in terms of like taking it out and after we've taken it out, or how we like manage it during? How small are your braids? Good question. How often are you installing them? What is the weight? You will notice the consistency with everything I've said today. Yeah, I do. It's a how, and then there's the frequency. Yeah, and then the volume. Yeah. If you approach, this is how to troubleshoot. Okay, let me sit up. if you approach your hair care and you ask yourself those questions, that would help you determine whether this is the right decision or not.
I agree, to be fair, yeah.
If your braids are too small, and even if you do it once because they had the weight, it was too small, what is the richness of your hair? What is the integrity of your hair to take on that? What is the tolerance level of your hair?
Yeah.
For some people, that is just one try.
Yeah.
And then you're kish kebab, really. For others, it might be because you did it too often. If you're doing your braids too frequently, it is almost impossible. It is impossible to have gray edges, not have thinning issues in the middle and the side, and not to have fine strands, or strands that are finer than they were before you started. So the comparison is therefore to yourself. Because when we say, well, my hair is too thick, but is it finer? And is the quality of the hair less today than it was before you started doing that back to back?
Okay.
And then it's understanding, most people don't know they're doing back to back braids. A lot of people do not know they're doing back to back braids. Somebody will sit in front of me in the consultation. I would ask, what was your last style? I did braids. How long were they in for? Oh, just 6 weeks. Okay, great. What was the break in between? I left it out for 3 weeks and I restored another for 6 weeks. If you look at that in the year, you had braids for more than 80% of the time. That's back-to-back braids. But most people don't look at it like that.
No, they don't. I don't. It's okay, I'll never lie.
All of that taken into consideration, if you unravel, first of all, if you install them properly, and if you care for them properly, you're using a good moisturizer while the hair is still in braids. You're making sure the moisturizer is touching the most aged part of the braids, not just randomly doing that. And then when you unravel, the greater damage also happens when you unravel the braids. The hair has to be well lubricated when you're removing two rough fibers. The hair has to be well lubricated to allow for glide. So you can lubricate it with an oil, for example. Unravel, do a well deep conditioning treatment, ideally protein, to help build up some of the structure that you've lost in that process. And ideally don't do it again so soon.
Just have your hair out?
Your hair doesn't have to, but when you say out, it doesn't necessarily have to be out like in a fro out. But it also doesn't have to be with something attached on.
Preach it. I mean, wait, if it doesn't have anything attached to it and it's not out in a fro, what's the other alternative?
Could you do a bun?
What do you mean? What, with your hair, as in with your, if somebody doesn't have long enough hair, like some people.
Could you do a wig, provided that the parameters are not tight, provided you're not sliding in the comb? If you don't like a wig, and you have enough length to do 2-strand twists, could you do 2-strand twists and roll and fold it and use bobby pins so it looks like a cute hairstyle?
I see. There are options, I guess.
Even if you are doing extensions, could you do a middle part to cornrows? Because that's less manipulation than back-to-back braids.
Right. And just breathe.
And just, could you do that, do the 2 cornrows, have that on for, I don't know what, 2 weeks, still moisturizing, and then...
Back in braids.
Well, have a break.
What's a break?
The break is, it depends on the tolerance level of the hair. Some people don't need to be doing braids at all. You have no business installing braids at all. Your edge is already compromised. You see the amount of hair loss when you take it out. Why? You have made the connection, the damage to the braids, but yet you reinstall it again. Why? And then you say to my office, you've created not just traction, because you left the traction untreated for a long time, you've now created another issue, a disease, which is now very difficult to get under control. And I asked, how did it start? I did braids. It's the same story, again and again and again. And the sad part of this is, I don't think anything is going to change in my lifetime.
It will.
I'll tell you why.
Tell me why. I'm saying
I used to believe that. I used to believe that.
It will.
Wholeheartedly. And then I opened up to the outside world.
Oh no. What?
And I realized, oh my goodness, it's worse than I think or that I thought. I used to think, oh my God, there is impact, is making a change. The amount of people that do not know are greater than the people sending or giving out the scientific facts.
Yeah.
If there aren't enough people giving out the scientific facts, it's just a dot. I'm just a dot.
Yeah.
I'm speaking to someone yesterday and she's just hearing the term deep conditioning for the first time. She's never heard that before.
Where does she live?
My point is people don't know. They're unaware.
Yeah.
So unless more people are sharing the scientific facts, I don't think there is enough of it out there to make a change. It is very sad. And I think when I open up the space and I'm seeing more people coming in with different concerns, and I'm realizing, oh my God, people do not know anything about their hair.
Yeah.
They think a protective style is my hair's in braids 80% of the year. They think that leaving their fro out every day. So yes, hiding it, but also leaving it out every day. They think spraying their hair with water. They think using satin on their head. They think using bonnets with a tight elastic scrunchie. The list is endless.
And these things are wrong, you're saying. Or there's more to them than people think, is what you're saying. There's like too much around it that people don't know.
If your hairline is compromised, you should not be using a bonnet with the scrunch elastic.
Because it's going to rub against it.
Because it's going to create additional sandpapering on your hairline. You need something flat and uniformed around your parameters.
Okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. Because I do see what you're saying. But if I'm being completely frank, that's why I'm here. That's literally what I'm here for. To put people like yourself that have the education on the map. Without the catalyst to get this onto televisions or to get this to the masses, you're right, yeah, no, it wouldn't change.
I don't, and when I realized that, that's kind of what I did.
No, I know.
There are too many people that do not know.
We can fix that, sis. It's okay. We can fix it. I'm here. I'll do my bit. That is the point. You know, if there's certain broadcasters watching, okay, we've got work to do. It's a lot. I'm not going to lie and tell you it's not. It's a lot.
It's going to be a lot of work. And I think it's also the service providers that people are aware of are hairstylists and hairdressers, and they have a role to play. They have a place in it. Sure. But it's also redirected. Yeah. Someone sitting in your chair and has very thick, scaly scalp. The solution isn't oil your scalp. And that's what, that's what hairdressers are telling their clients to do, oil your scalp.
It's true, I've been told that a few times.
Yeah. And that's because the knowledge is limited. They don't know that, you only know what they can't implement something that they too don't know. Yeah. So the idea is redirect. If you don't know it, it's okay. I don't know. Earlier on you asked about Castor Oil. I said I haven't read it in a long time. I don't know. I haven't read it in a long time. I haven't looked it up in a long time. I don't know. I don't know.
But I think there's a fear of people losing money, losing revenue, and it's at your scalp's expense, basically. There's a lot to be fixed. I was going to say I don't have all the answers. I don't have any of the answers. That's kind of why I do the podcast. But the point is simply that you just do the best you can do that day. I have a real issue with anxiety. My mum tells me, because I panic, I say, oh, next week, and what about next month? And mum, this in my calendar, and blah, blah, blah. She's like, just do all you can do for that day and relax. And that's what I'm telling you that because I'm looking around and I'm like, I mean, for what you are doing is good. It's beyond good. It's incredible. So you just keep doing what you're doing, okay? You keep trucking along, and then I'll work on just getting more eyes on it. That's not for you to worry about. I'm gonna deal with that part. We'll do a little tag team. It's okay, it's fine. It's not easy on either side, but that's the whole point of this, is a community project, what I'm doing. And we'll get there.
Yeah.
And if we don't, you can drag me when I'm like 19. You can come find me. I'll be in a home somewhere. You can come find me, you can tell me you were right. But until that day, I have full faith.
What I am encouraged by is those under the age of 14 and now being exposed to understanding their hair better.
Yes.
I'm seeing less under 14s with damaging practices.
Yeah. See?
So they will be
the next, right.
Which is why I said in my generation, I don't think it will be as powerful. But in that generation.
Yeah, which is, this generation is important, but we're going to work on everybody. We're going to try our best. Thank you for today.
Thank you.
I'm so glad I was able to end off this season with you. And anybody listening or watching, please understand that people like Enitan are really rare. They're so rare. So if you are struggling and you're even a little bit curious from today, just a little bit curious, just come and see the woman, damn. Just come and see the lady. Where are we? Let's talk about where we are so people can come and find you.
So nearest train station is Ravenscourt Park.
Yes, it is.
We're 6 minutes from Westfield Shopping Centre in White City. We're right on the major main street. We're in 298 King Street. You can also go on our website, healthyhairstudio.co.uk. There's loads of education on my page. The further down you scroll, the more education you'll find. And I think my greatest advice would be, before you take information from someone, find the evidence of what they're saying. And the easiest way to do that, now that we have social media, is by their fruits you shall know them. So scroll down and see, can you see evidence of what they're talking about? Especially on themselves.
I always think that.
And then take one day at a time.
Thank you so much. Guys, everything that you'll need is going to be on Texture Talks as well. I'll put everything.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm sat here feeling so emotional because I'm like, I'm going to do everything possible to prove you wrong. I'm going to get as many eyes on you as possible. Thank you so much, every single person, for tuning in to every episode and listening and watching. This season has opened up my mind to things that I never thought I would ever experience. And I'm just so grateful that even though we're at the beginning, we're at the teething stages, that I can see light at the end of the tunnel for all of us. I really, really hope you enjoyed everything that we put together for you this season and are even more excited for everything that we have yet to come on season 2. In the meantime, please don't tighten your bonnet. Don't tighten your bonnet, actually. I say that at the end of every episode.
Oh, you do?
Like, don't, just loosen it. Loosen your bonnet. Okay. Maybe don't oil your scalp either, actually, whilst I'm here, but just protect your edges. That can stay. And I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.